Let's solve this radical equation. Now we have negative y equals the square root of y plus 6. Since our radical is isolated on the right side, we can square both sides. All right, so when I square negative y, meaning I do negative y times negative y, that gives me y squared. Okay, I'll put it off to the side just to make sure. Okay, negative y times negative y, negatives cancel out, y squared equals the radical and the square cancel each other out, y plus 6. Now that I have a quadratic, I want to subtract my y and my 6 from both sides. Subtract my y and my 6. I'm going to be left with y squared minus y minus 6 equals 0. Now I want to solve this quadratic equation. The best way to try first is factoring. Are there two terms that multiply together to give me negative 6, that add to give me negative 1? It will be y minus 3 and y plus 2. So when I solve the equations, I want my first binomial, this can be 0, or my second binomial could be 0. I add 3 over here. So one of my solutions is 3. Subtract 2 for this equation, and one of my solutions is negative 2. Now, those are the solutions to this quadratic equation, which I did get from this radical equation. So what I have to now do is plug both of these in to see, do both of them work? Do neither of them work? Do one of them work? Or is one of them extraneous, both of them extraneous? So I have to now go through the process of checking it. All right, my original equation, recall, was negative y, meaning the opposite of my y value equals the square root of my y value plus 6. So I'm first going to do it with 3. So my equation is the opposite, or negative y equals the square root of 3 plus 6. Is negative 3 the square root of 9? Not necessarily. It's one of the square roots, but it's not always 9. All right. I'm sorry, not always negative 3. So that tells me this is actually extraneous. So the first one we tried, y is 3. This is extraneous. All right. So now let's try negative 2. My solution was negative 2. My original equation was negative y. So technically it's negative 2. But that's just straight up silly. So it's just 2 equals the square root of 2 plus 6. 2 equals the square root of 8. Something is messy here. Hang on. I didn't do negative 2 up here. I didn't plug negative 2. So bear with me and my apologies. 2 equals the square root of negative 2 plus 6 is 4. Does the square root of 4 equal 2? Yes, it does. So when I plug in this value of negative 2, since 2 equals 2 is a true statement, my solution to this equation, this radical, is y equals negative 2.